On this episode of Kilts and Culture, we talk about kilting up in the summer months, the do's and don'ts for your wedding outfit, and how to use a public restroom when you're kilted. Hi everybody, welcome
Hello.
to Facebook Live with USAK Kilts. I'm Rocky.
Hello.
This is Eric. If this is your first time here, basically load in whatever questions you have for Eric and I about kilts or Celtic culture into the comments section, and we just sit here and answer all your questions for you.
Yep. I'm actually going to go as Darth Rick now.
Darth Rick
Instead of Eric, I'm going to be Darth Rick.
Yeah.
Because it's May the 4th. So, May the 4th be with you.
Happy Star Wars Day to everyone out there, and it's also National No Pants Day, unofficial day, but National No Pants Day, the first Friday in May. So, in honor of that, and every day, we do not have pants on. We have kilts on today. It's not really.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing for us. Yeah. Although I did try to sith out a little bit with my tartan. This is a Lucas. Can you see the tartan? My tartan pretty well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is Glengarry. You've heard me talk about it before. It's one of my favorite tartans, and basically this is the one I always recommend to anybody who wants to do a heavy metal or Star Wars or whatever dark side kind of look, because it's pretty cool. I like it.
Agreed.
So yeah, I've never really done. I don't know when Star Wars Day really became a thing, but it's
we didn't do any research on it. We just know that
it's
May the 4th is Star Wars Day.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, the obvious May the 4th be with you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, our connection with Star Wars is basically the fact that we produce kilts for the Kilted Trooper Brigade. If there's any members of that out there, feel free to say hi. That's the most popular tartan for them, though, was the Prince of Wales, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
When they first came to us 10 years ago, whatever it is now, they decided they wanted to do a universal tartan for their group and have the most black and red and white looking one that they could get for obvious reasons. The Prince of Wales was the closest that we had. It's actually a very dark green, but that's the one that they decided on. So that's what we did for their entire group. Mm-hmm. And then about 4 years ago, we started doing the Glengarry tartan in Polyviscose, and that's one now that a lot of the 501st guys like to wear, or the Star Wars types.
We've sold this to a couple of kilted Darth Vaders also.
Nice.
Like my friend up in Allentown who does that. He's got the whole, really, really well done Vader outfit, but he uses a Glengarry semi-trad kilt for part of that outfit. So
nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Maybe we should do like a Glengarry cape for it.
Oh,
no.
That might be a bit much. That might be a bit much. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
How about Tartan Tuscan Raider? You could do like Scott Weathered or something. Be a
okay.
Tartan Jawa. Tartan Jawa. What would be the most appropriate? I want to figure out what tartan is the best one for Mandalorians. So I know there's a lot of Mandalorian fans out there. If any of you guys have ideas, what would be the perfect tartan for Boba Fett and all the other Mandalorian guys? Let me know about that.
If it were up to me, that it's not, but if it were up to me, I'd say something like Moffat or Douglas Gray. It's basically something that's gray and black based with a red stripe.
Yep.
Similar to this, but a lighter color gray.
Yeah, he's got that kind of gray. There's the
greenish gray.
Green.
Yeah.
There's a green
like a
color.
seafoam kind of dark seafoam greenish.
Yeah.
Panels on it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. Cool. So let us know. We'll make it happen. We'll start a trend. Go. Speaking of trends, one quick announcement before we get into the questions. If you happen to be available on Monday, we're going to have a special guest here in our studio. Members of the band Kudu are coming out, and we're going to talk to them about their music scene and what it's like to be performers in the Ren Fair circuit, and doing the tribal Celtic music sound and stuff like that. Right?
Yep. And the tartan.
Yep.
And we designed a tartan for the band, and they've announced it.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a secret. It's not a secret.
We designed a tartan for the band, or with the band, I should say. So we're going to be basically showing that off on Monday and interviewing the band and talking about the tartan and that kind of stuff as well.
And I will say that I've seen it, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So I'm biased, but I think it's going to kick.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. So,
I agree.
All right. So yeah, that's Monday. If you happen to hear over 1 o'clock?
No, noon.
Noon. Okay, high noon.
Noon to 1, yes.
Kudu, high noon. Remember that. You want to answer some questions?
Let's go.
Cool. Okay. As usual, we have a few that have been given to us ahead of time, and we have a few that are coming over live on the feed now. I'm going to start off with one that came in earlier. So This person is asking, my name doesn't have a tartan, so what kilt should I wear?
If your name doesn't have a tartan, if you know the district that your name is from, you could wear a district tartan. Like if you're from Atholl, or if you're from Galway, or if you're from Edinburgh, there are tartans for different districts in Scotland. If you're Irish, there's the county tartans as well. If your name is German, like Rager, then you could wear the German Heritage Tartan or American Heritage Tartan. There's a lot of different tartans, universal tartans or district tartans that you can wear that aren't necessarily associated directly with the name. That being said, you may also want to verify that your name is not a sept of another clan. For instance, McMichael is actually a sept of Stewart of Appin, and Reed, the last name Reed, is a sept of Robertson. So two people I know who I happen to know their septs.
Yeah.
So they would be, it would be appropriate for them to wear those particular tartans. So either check if your name is a sept of something, or look for some universal tartans that just kind of speak to you.
And this is kind of the reason that universal tartans were invented in the first place. And if you go far back in history, you didn't have a clan tartan anyway. If you go back 200, 250 years, look at pictures of Jacobites, for instance, and they're wearing mixing tartans, which is something we really don't do today, but all kinds of different stuff. So very popular universal tartans are things like Isle of Skye is really popular. What else is a top runner? Spirit of Scotland?
Black Watch, Scottish
Watch.
National,
Yep.
Irish National, American Heritage.
Mhm.
Irish American's another popular one. So there's literally dozens. You're almost as good just deciding what colors you want to wear.
Right.
If you want to wear something purple, let's say, then you could do a Spirit of Scotland, or you could do Scotland Forever, Warrior.
Yep.
There's a myriad of tartans that are available.
Yep. And if you happen to be shopping with us, I will mention that that will help you with getting your feet wet if you don't have a kilt already, because we keep several of the universal tartans as off-the-rack kilts for a quick sale, like here in the shop. So if you're in a hurry to get a kilt and you like one of those, it's your starting point, then you're actually, have an advantage there.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Lucas, got some for us?
Yes. Luke asks us, is it okay to wear a kilt belt with a Prince Charlie jacket?
Yes and no. It's a bit of a faux pas. Basically, anytime you're wearing a vest, the kilt belt is covered by the vest.
Right.
You end up having basically a little bit of the buckle showing because the vest is going to cover the majority of the buckle. So for the most part, no. The other reason I'd say no is because generally when you're wearing a Prince Charlie, it's a formal kind of function, and you'd be wearing a dress sporran. And the top of the dress sporran has that metal cantle on top. Can you grab the one behind you over there on the shelf?
Yep.
Since we have props available.
What do you mean props? This is my living room.
The metal cantle on the top of the sporran has this little nub on the top. That's actually a throwback to how it actually closed, sort of like a coin purse used to close. That's not how it closes now, but that's how it used to close, as a button on the top. The buckle would sit basically right on top of the dress sporran. So when you sit down, it's going to sit there and knock into the belt buckle and either scratch that or scratch the buckle. So typically, no, when you're wearing a dress sporran or a Prince Charlie jacket, you would not wear a kilt belt buckle or kilt belt.
I'll give one exception to that. This is a very, very big. I only do this so I can actually. All right, reset. Now talk. One exception I will give to that would be if you are in a wedding, and as a groomsman or as the groom, you're going to be going armed with like a dirk, or a sword is uncommon because they're awkward. But if you're wearing a weapon, the reason to some extent that kilt belts are as wide as they are is because their original intent was to carry your gear and keep a great kilt shut. So if you're carrying a lot of hardware around, like a dirk, then you could bend the rule and wear a belt so you can carry the dirk during the ceremony. Like your friend who got married, the photos we use all the time.
Yep.
He has a dirk on, and
I did too.
Yeah. Okay. So did you use a belt though?
Check that. I used the dirk just to cut the cake. I didn't wear it in the
You
ceremony.
didn't wear it. Okay.
No. Yeah.
But that would be the one exception. If you look at Victorian pictures, sometimes you'll see these guys who have the belt on the outside of their waistcoat because they're carrying a dirk, and it's one of these Victorian dirks with the multiple blades in the sheath and everything. Very, very fancy, very ornate. And it's the belt is just there to carry the weapons. It's not something people do normally nowadays, and the issue with the sporran is much more important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
Got something else?
Yes. Luke also asks us, when is wearing a hackle on a Glengarry most appropriate?
That's a good question.
Basically, for when you're playing the pipes or when you're in a pipe band.
That's pretty much a pipe thing.
Yeah, it's a military look. I can't speak. That's kind of my gut reaction. I'm not giving you the 100% answer, but that's my 80% answer. It's basically just when you're in a pipe band.
Yeah. Modern hackles are an outgrowth of British military uniforms, and the hackle as a concept is a Victorian interpretation, probably actually pre-Victorian, the more I think about it, maybe 18th century. It's a kind of a updating and a riff off of the old plant badges that the Klansmen used to wear. So basically, you would have a weed that grew in your local area. So it's like, okay, everybody put some heather in your hat so we know who's who on the battlefield. Okay, so everybody put some heather up there.
The boxwood or
exactly.
something.
Yeah. And then you have the tradition of chieftains wearing feathers, like eagle feathers, in their bonnets also. So the hackle is kind of paying honor to those very much older traditions. But as such, it really is a military thing, a military aesthetic. I have seen guys wear them sometimes when they're like manning a clan tent at a clan gathering or a festival, and they have it as a decoration with their, where they're trying to show off all the clan regalia they can because they're there to represent the clan to the public. I guess that's okay, but strictly speaking, it's something that is mostly the purview of musicians now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's an honor guard thing, really.
The one other thing I would note as well, you touched on the chief, wearing a feather in the cap or two feathers for the guy below the chief.
Right.
Don't wear feathers in your Glengarry or your Balmoral unless you are the clan chief.
Right.
Not chief of your own family, your own household. No, it is a bit insulting for Americans or anyone really, unless you are the clan chief official.
Yeah.
Do not wear feathers in your cap.
Right. And there's a code to it. I have something about that on the website. If anybody really wants to know the details, write us a letter and we can let you know. Any more?
Write us a letter. Pen us with your finest
script.
Yes.
Send it. Have your secretary, have your factor pay a visit to our factor, and we shall discuss it.
Another question from Luke. He's asking...
Luke, man.
Yeah, he's on question 3.
Okay.
Pleat widths seem to vary from place to place. Why, and how wide should it be?
It's a matter of personal preference. If you're looking at a box-pleated kilt, well, let me start this over. The width of the pleat is directly proportionate to the depth of the pleat and the amount of fabric that you have to go around the individual. If you have a really, really large guy and 5 yards of cloth versus a really, really skinny guy and 5 yards of cloth, the pleats will either be deeper on the skinnier guy or they will be narrower on the skinnier guy. If you're looking at a box-pleated kilt, they're typically 4 yards, and the pleats tend to be about 2 inches wide, 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide. On a traditional knife-pleated kilt, a 5-yarder like we do would be about 1 to 1.1 inches wide, and on an 8-yard kilt, the pleats generally end up being about 3/4 to 0.9 inches wide.
Right.
Basically, the more fabric you have, the more pleats you can put in a kilt. In a traditional 8-yard kilt, it's somewhere round about 28 to 32 pleats. That kind of that number of pleats on a kilt. In a 5-yard kilt, it's generally about 20 pleats in the kilt, so they have to be a little bit wider again because there's less fabric that you have to make up the pleated section of the kilt.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sense?
So, kind of, sort of related to that, different kilts will have different pleating. You made me think of the fact that the casual kilt, because it has less fabric in it, the pleats are a bit, they're different than on an 8-yard. Okay, they're not
Correct.
They're not as impressive. Which kind of dovetails with the question I had here from earlier, which we had someone asking, why would you need more than one kilt? And we're biased because we're collectors. We have tons of kilts because we love them. But why would you need to have more than one kilt?
I'll take it 2 directions. Why would you need to have more than one kilt? Firstly, if you have a traditional 8-yard wool kilt that you wore to your wedding and that you wear for fancy occasions and you want to save it and that's your good kilt, you wouldn't necessarily want to wear that out to the pub. You wouldn't want to wear it to the Highland Games where you're going to sweat in it or get mud or, have a chance to muck it up a bit. That's why, that's why there are casual kilts and less expensive kilts. Our casual, mini sales pitch. Our casual kilt is actually coated with Teflon, so you can wear it to the pub. You can spill beer on it. You can spill wine on it, and it's just basically going to roll right off. And you just give it a quick shake, done. The opposite's also true. If you have a lower end kilt and you start in the lower end of the market, you're generally, that's basically how I started wearing kilts, was wearing casual kilts to the pub, to concerts and things like that. And then eventually I wanted to wear it out, with my girlfriend to dinner, or I wanted to wear it to a wedding, or I wanted to wear it to church or whatever. But wearing a kilt that I was wearing to the pub and has stains on it wouldn't necessarily be a great choice to wear to a wedding. So I ended up getting, kind of walking up the ladder and getting nicer and nicer kilts. So I do have some nice kilts that I actually save specifically for formal events, and then I have other kilts that I wear just to monkey around with, or in the shop, or if I'm out, running around for the day.
Yeah, and I think that the casual kilt has shallower pleats. It's not as impressive with a nice outfit anyway.
Agreed.
So it gets down to that also. Is like there's casual clothes, there's formal clothes, there are casual kilts, there are formal kilts. It's all part of the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in some ways there's two rationales for it. The wider pleats are a little bit more casual. Less pleats are a little bit more dressier. They look a little bit nicer. They swing a little bit better. Yeah. From a practical money standpoint, from the business side of it, the casual kilt that we have has wider pleats. Therefore, it's less fabric. Right. Therefore, it also takes a little bit less time to create. And they're also made from polyviscose cloth, which helps us keep the cost down. Right. That's why we can have those around $100 versus an 8-yard wool kilt, which is about $500. Mm-hmm. So from our end, from a business perspective, there's labor costs, material costs, and those kind of things that we have to factor into it. From your perspective, one looks a little dressier, a little fancier, and one looks a little bit more casual.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Got on?
Question for Rocky. Rocky, how did you start making kilts, and at what point did you realize you could turn it into a business?
In my mid-20s, I was kind of I had a journal I used to keep, and in my journal I was, my philosophy, for lack of a better term, a 25-year-old philosopher, as it were, as much as that could be. And just kind of talking about, do I really care what other people think about me? Do I, am I a man of my word? That kind of thing. And in one of my entries that I kind of ended it with, I've always wanted to wear a kilt and I never had the guts to do it. And I just kind of put down the pen and thought about it, and I was like, that's it. I need to wear a kilt. So, that's, kind of the symbol of all of this kind of brought up into an actual garment of clothing. So I went out, bought a couple kilts, cheap ones, and started wearing them out. And then after I was wearing them for a little while, a couple of my friends saw me wearing them, and they started wearing them. And then we kind of got together and said, okay, we can make this. And then we started making them and just kind of got better and better at it. So that's really the crux, the beginning of the company, was making them. And for the most part, it was just for beer money. It wasn't a business right off the bat. It was just something fun to do. And then it was always financially driven, if you will, in the fact that it was for beer money, which I wanted. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily a full-grown company. I was working
like a hobby business.
Yeah, it was more of a hobby business.
Yeah, okay.
I never, looking back at it, I never really treated it as a hobby business. It was always effectively, even when it was a secondary job, it was still a full-time job.
Okay.
I used to work for a company in King of Prussia called Blades Board and Skate. I was a retail manager for a snowboard, skateboard, inline skate company. And that company started having some financial difficulties and started, the writing was on the wall that it was going to go out of business. So I was working there effectively 40 hours a week, and I was working on the kilt thing 30 plus hours a week. I mean, I'm not exaggerating by any stretch. So eventually at some point I just said, okay, I think I can give it a go. And I just, put in my notice at my other job, thank you for the, for the time, thanks for the memories, and started doing the kilt thing full time with my, at the time girlfriend, now wife Kelly. And it was scary. I mean, we had, standing up on our own 2 feet, the two of us working in a little tiny 500 square foot cottage, fighting over orders. Well, I got to make rent this month, so I need the extra money. I need to make that kilt, and well, I want to eat tonight, so I got to make the kilt. It says we used to pay ourselves based on the kilts that we would make, and then we just took the money that we were making from the accessories and just kept flipping that money back into the company and just grew the company that way. We never took a dime out of the kilt hose and sporins and all the other stuff. We were just paying ourselves as if we were laborers, and then we gave away all the rest of our administrative labor for free, and then just to be able to grow the business. And eventually we were able and fortunate enough to move to another location in Phoenixville and hire Mac, who's been a very, very long tenured employee, and just grow it from there. And now we're a 10-person business, going full tilt, and we have our own TV station.
All this.
Exactly.
And you occasionally sleep once in a great while.
Yeah, cat naps.
Yeah. Go for it, Lucas.
Another question specifically for Rocky. Dan asks, Rocky, will you be pouring the beer tomorrow?
No. I will be hobnobbing with the guests.
Okay.
Yes, that's beneath me. No, Ian, one of our kilt makers, is actually going to be the bartender for tonight.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
We're going to have Eric is actually not going to be there.
Yeah.
We're going to have Lucas, Lance, and Ben in the store helping customers there. We're going to have the kilt makers in the back kind of talking to people and explaining how they do what they do. Ian's going to be pouring the beers, and I'm just going to be kind of floating around helping whoever I can help, however I can help.
Mm-hmm. It's not all going to be work, though. It's going to be fun, too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
David asks a question I think that you were going to address on the list here. He says, serious but maybe humorous question. Any tips for using the facilities in one of the kilts? He wants to keep his kilt clean while seated.
Isn't it? It's weird how we'll get these questions ahead of time. It's like there's a disturbance in the force. Because this is the second time this week that somebody has asked that question. So we actually had thought about this a lot and how we wanted to approach an answer. And over to you, Rocky.
Sure. It is a weird kind of personal subject, but at the same time, it's an earnest question, and we do thank you for asking it, and the other gent that asked it, prior as well. And I'll try to answer it with as much dignity as I can answer a potty question. If you need to use the restroom and it's public restroom and you have to go number 2 in a kilt and you need to be seated, basically you have 2 options. First option is to actually take the kilt off. Usually on the back of the stall doors they have the little hook for your jacket. You can hang your sporran on there, take your kilt off, and I usually hook the buckles onto that hook or just hang the back of the kilt over top of that hook. Your other option is, as you seat, lean forward and then flip the kilt up kind of onto your back so it's just kind of draped around you.
Yeah.
If the restroom is particularly unclean, shall we say, then option A is probably your better bet, so you don't want to, mess up your good kilt.
Yeah, if you're worried about getting schmutz on the hem of your kilt or something from like the back of the toilet or something, then porta-johns are a little more challenging with that. I think timing is everything is the other thing. If at all possible, if you're going out to an event, take care of your business in the morning before you go, if you can, or make sure that you consider the fact that you're not going to be able to run in and out of the bathroom the way you do with regular clothes. You might want to take your time, so allow time to, if you're going to take your gear off because it's more convenient for you to take your gear off before you go, then make sure you have enough time before you have to run off to the next concert or whatever you're there for. But it's like everything else with a kilt. It takes a little bit of practice. If you're out hiking or something, and you're not going to strip off all your gear to relieve yourself in the woods. So the flip thing works really well in those situations. I know some guys will take the hem and tuck it up into their belt line, things like that. Okay. It's like other things. You got to decide what's going to be most comfortable and most effective for you, based on your circumstances and based on your body type. Some of these techniques are easier for guys who are skinny. Some of these techniques are easier for guys who are bigger. So but those are the two, basically either take it all off or do the flip.
I hadn't considered the porta potty thing. What I'd say for that is the flip method, and as well, kind of fan your pleats out and bring them around to your sides and kind of tuck them up underneath your arms a little bit. Porta potties, depending on if you go in the morning versus midday or later in the evening, can be disgusting. So do the flip method.
Timing.
Yeah.
Don't use a porta potty in the dark if you can avoid it. I will say, and this is gets to the grody side a little bit, but I will say, do remember that whether it's polyviscose or whether it's wool, the fabric, if you're getting a kilt from us at least, I can't speak to other companies necessarily, it doesn't really stain as easily as some people think, okay? It will shed water, it will shed stains. You're not, one brush with blue liquid in a porta potty is not going to ruin your kilt, okay? So don't be scared of ruining your kilt because of these circumstances. You know, go with what you're comfortable with.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Anything more from your end there, Lucas? Okay. Cool. We scared them all away with the poop question. Okay. Okay, so here's a good one. When the waist is smaller than the hips, is the kilt supposed to taper in? What do you do, basically, if we get a measurement that's a waist measurement that's larger than the hip measurement that the customer is providing?
If you are a guy with a flat posterior, as it were, and or a pronounced belly in the front, so that your waist measurement may be 48, but your hip measurement is 44, we would still make the kilt with a little bit of taper. You would not do a 47 waist and then taper it down. It would not fit well. It would be, it just wouldn't fit well. Mm-hmm. A kilt is meant to go around your belly on a bigger guy and basically go from around the widest point of view and just hang flat down in the front. It actually is a much more flattering appearance on a bigger guy when it just hangs straight down. Mm-hmm. And if you tapered the kilt in, it would just kind of, the front apron would act weird.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just from a physics standpoint, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, you want to go straight down. If you think of yourself kind of as an egg shape, if you go straight down from the widest part of the egg, it'll stay up. If you try to taper it down, it just would, I would think it would want to help pull the kilt down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I would say, please don't, if you're sending measurements to us, don't, if your hip measurement is smaller than your waist, don't think that we don't need it. We still want to have it there for reference. Give us the accurate measurements every single time. On the other side of the coin, when the kilt arrives and you have the data sheet that comes with it and it has your measurements, if you see 52, 52, don't be alarmed at that. That just means that the kilt maker has done what is, from a technical standpoint, appropriate, which is he's made it a vertical drop for you.
A cylinder, effectively.
Yeah, so which is what's going to work best for your body shape. So.
The one other thing I'll point out as well, if you have a body shape that is kind of like offset tires, where your belly goes out in the front and your rear end goes out in the back, and let's say you're measuring 52, 52, let us know that in advance, because we would still want to taper in the back to allow for the rear end. We don't want to just make a cylinder for that. So if you do have that kind of body shape, let us know in advance.
Yeah, that's an unusual circumstance. Although it does happen with women customers sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's too unusual, honestly.
Really?
For a guy, yeah, to have measurement, waist, and hip very similar. Just a little bit of a bubble butt, if you will, just kind of rear end that goes out a little bit.
Okay. Cool. Should they go so far as to send you photos or something? We're not asking for that level of.
No, we wouldn't necessarily need that level of, but it couldn't hurt. At that point, we'd ask for a profile picture of you, basically from chest to knee, just so we can see how much, it goes out in the front and out in the back.
Operational code bubble butt. Got anything else there, Lucas? Okay. All right. Is it okay to wear a hat with my kilt? Pretty basic. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a hat with your kilt, you can have a debate over whether a flat cap is acceptable to wear with a kilt or not. You can have a Glengarry, a Balmoral, basically anything. It really depends on the circumstance. Mm-hmm. If you're going to, a very, very casual event, a Glengarry might look odd, but a baseball cap would be fine. Or if it's just, kind of a walk in the woods and it's a little bit brisk in a fall day, then, throw on a flat cap, period.
Mm-hmm. I would say that the type of hat should be a smaller silhouette. All the hats that you just mentioned are smaller, closer fitting to the head kind of hats. I would not recommend wearing your big old 10-gallon cowboy hat or a fedora, like your Indiana Jones fedora with a kilt. It's a look. I've seen some guys do it, especially in the pop culture scenes, but it's really not. It doesn't work as well with the silhouette of a kilt. You know what I mean? It's like when you think of a wide-brimmed hat, the silhouette on the guy kind of like is an inverted triangle. It goes down, but with a kilt, you get the hourglass kind of shape from the shoulder line into the waist and then out to the hem of the kilt. And having another horizontal line on the top of your head, it just looks weird. So I would avoid, and this goes for you Ren Fair people out there, I would say try something different than the classic Ren Fair pirate hat, Three Musketeers hat kind of thing. It doesn't look right with a kilt, at least in my estimation. It's not the right kind of silhouette, but a closer fitting hat, like those, what's that one that the guy was wearing at the St. Andrews dinner? Remember, it's like a close fitting, it's like a trilby, I want to say. Like a hat like...
sure. I'm not a big hat guy, so
okay.
You'd say the name and I still wouldn't know.
So, Sean Connery in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that hat, that's about as far as I would go. And that's kind of dorky looking, but it works from an old guy kind of fogey standpoint, maybe?
Deerstalker hat? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, not Deerstalker. That's like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do that. I think that would look kind of odd, but...
It's been done. It's still traditional hunting kind of...
I guess that's where I'm going, is that some hats with a shorter brim that are meant to be hunting hats work with a kilt. But big, wide, rain brim type hats or, modern fashion hats just don't look as right to me.
Agreed.
I think flat caps are cool. A lot of people associate those more with the Irish look, but I've seen Scottish guys use those too. It just generally looks good for a casual occasion. Does that make sense? That's probably more information than you needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of a similar vein. Can I wear a Fly Plaid with a tux jacket? Like a regular tuxedo, I guess.
I wouldn't wear a Fly Plaid with a tux jacket. It looks odd. The Fly Plaid's only really, for those who don't know what a Fly Plaid is, it is the cape-looking thing that goes over your left shoulder, hangs down to about the bottom of your pectoral muscle in the front. There's a big brooch that goes up here near the shoulder, and then down the back it hangs about to the middle of your calf in the back. No, don't wear it with a tux. It's just you're mixing and matching cultures, and it just looks odd.
Yeah, you're crossing the streams.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't really recommend it. If you were going to put tartan into a regular tuxedo, I'd say about the only way to do it would be like a tartan vest would be a good way.
Tartan vest?
Tartan trews, right?
Tartan cummerbund?
Yep.
Pocket square, bow tie. There's other ways to incorporate tartan into a traditional tux. Mm-hmm. I would not get a Fly Plaid. It looks like you tried and missed versus really nailing the outfit. And for the most part, I'm assuming you'd be getting married in such a thing, and you're going to have pictures for a very long time with your beautiful bride. And you want to make sure that you're going to like 20 years from now when you're staring at this picture hanging over your mantle as much as you liked it the day of.
It's good advice.
Thank you.
In general, yeah. Okay. Here's a technique.
Yeah, let's expound on that for a sec.
Really? Okay.
If you're going to get married in a kilt, think about not just what you are wearing that day. Think about down the road. Do you really want to, if you're going to wear, cream-colored hose, we would generally tell people, shy away from the cream-colored hose. Go with a color to match your kilt, or go with a pair of black hose or something like that. Don't necessarily get the least expensive thing or try to make it work. If you're on a budget, there's things you can do, and you can trust us to kind of help you and guide you through the process to give you the best bang for your buck in the outfit.
I've done that a lot.
That being said, there's certain things you shouldn't compromise on, because you don't want to look back at your wedding photos 30 years from now and go, darn it, I should have done this.
Right.
Just do it right, because it's the one and only time you are the center of attention, and you want to make sure that you look your best, because it's forever.
Yeah, with the photography, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably part of the reason why a lot of people use the wedding as the excuse to pull the trigger on the nicer stuff they want.
Yep.
And if you're buying the quality stuff, it's going to last a lifetime too. So heck, you wear it at your wedding, and then you dress up in almost the same outfit in some ways for your vow renewal 25 years later or something like that.
Or your brother's wedding, or your son's wedding, or.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different events you can end up. Once you have a kilt or once you have a tux, you find reasons to wear it. So if you if you stretch your budget a little bit and spend an extra $5 less per arrangement on flowers and put that money into a kilt or into your outfit, you'll probably end up happier with the overall experience, and the flowers are going to die the day after the wedding. You're going to have the kilt forever.
What a great thought. I will say, yeah, but even on a budget, there are ways you can combine the elements so that they will look good. So even if you have a very limited amount of money to spend for the wedding, then, like we're saying, talk to us if you want to. There are other people out there who can give you advice also, but do your image searches and make sure you're looking at a good cross-section of options and ideas people have used over the years. Google image search is great for the research, but we will tell you what we think is going to look good versus what's going to look stupid and what you can get away with. We've had guys get married in a casual kilt and still look pretty sharp because of the accessories that they chose that went with it, the way they wore it. So there's more than one way to skin a wedding. Yeah.
And the other thing I would point out as well, whether you choose us or a different company, if you have an idea what you want your outfit to look like, just give us the photos of what you want it to look like and say, okay, this is the kind of outfit I want to go for. This is what I really have in my brain, and I have X amount of dollars to spend. If you're dealing with a reputable company or someone who actually cares about their customers, they're going to go into, basically logic mode and say, okay, he's going to need this kind of level kilt because the jacket's going to be this much. He wants a dress sporn, so that's going to be this much over here. Or he can spend a little bit less money and, use different parts of the outfits in different ways. Or spend different money on different parts of the outfit to achieve the look you're really going after. So find a company you trust, whether that's us or somebody else. Find a company you trust, and then trust them with your vision and use them to help you really narrow it down and give you the best bang for your buck.
I'll say one more thing. Take your time. The bride is going to take a long time figuring out what she's going to do for the wedding gown, chances are. If you're planning your outfit a year or a year and a half in advance, that's great. Do not leave planning a kilted wedding outfit to the last minute. It's not like going and picking up a tux at the rental store. It's not like, there's 5 options, I'll choose that one. No, there's a lot of moving parts, and you're going to want to make some very serious, thoughtful choices, so give yourself the time to do that. Not to mention the fact that, in our case, you're talking about a custom-made kilt, and that's going to take time to produce. So you got to allow it at the very least, like 10 weeks, before the date of your wedding, to make sure you get what you need when you need it. So take your time, go slow, enjoy the journey.
Give yourself time.
Yeah.
And then take time. Don't wait until 6 weeks before the wedding and take your time. That doesn't work.
Not so much. Got another question there, Lucas?
Question from Michael. He's asking, are there any new tartans in the USA Kilts pipeline?
Well, there's one.
Kudu.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see it on Monday.
Yeah. Do we have any new tartans coming out?
We've had a couple of ideas, which I'm not sure we want to divulge yet, of things that might be coming up, but nothing that is so set in stone that it's coming out in the next couple of months. We may be pulling the trigger on doing 1 or 2 changes to our the standard lineup for the off the rack stuff. But if you mean full blown, like Rocky original tartans, like the Flyers tartan or something like that, I'm not sure what we can talk about at this point.
Yeah, frankly speaking, I'm usually the one for the company who designs the new tartans, and with the recording stuff that we're doing here, with our 15-year anniversary party, with all the marketing stuff that we're doing, frankly, it's kind of been pushed off my plate a little bit. So if you have an idea for a tartan that you want to see happen, let us know. We have our tartan designer coming out soon, so you'll be able to actually design your own tartan on our website. And if you want to see it happen, have at it.
Yeah.
But as far as anything stock and brand new that we're doing, nothing is coming to my mind. Although I was up very early today, so not a lot of things are coming to my mind at all.
We will make sure you know when it does happen.
Yeah. We'll announce it on the Facebook page, obviously.
Yep. Got another one?
Yes. Eddie is asking us if a kilt can be altered as a result of weight loss.
We just answered this last month. This is something people run into on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, it can be altered depending on how much you've lost and how big you started. Using that example, if you are a 58-inch waist and you lose 8 inches, that can be altered. If you are a 38-inch waist and lose 8 inches, it's a little bit more difficult. Think of it as an overall percentage of the actual kilt. If it's a 2 or 3 inch move, yeah, that's fine. All we have to do is take off the 2 buckles on the right hand side and move those backwards a little bit and take off the strap that goes through the hole on the left hand side of the kilt and move that back. If it's a major alteration, in some ways you're just as good to just basically resell the kilt and buy a new kilt to treat yourself on your new thinner body shape. It's really what happens is when it's a major alteration, you end up spending as much money in labor almost as you would just getting a new kilt if the whole thing has to be deconstructed and then put back together.
Imagine Mac, or you, but mostly Mac, as a heart surgeon. Or as a surgeon in general. If he's going in and giving you some stitches, it's not going to cost as much. If he has to go and rip open the rib cage of your kilt and take everything out and put it back together as a $6 million man kilt, I'm really tired too. It's going to cost a lot. And we've said this before, our kilts at least actually do attract a fair amount of attention when you put them up for sale on places like eBay. Thanks to our reputation. So
or Facebook groups.
And Facebook groups. Yeah, Facebook groups are great for that. Check out Kilt Trading Post. Is that the one? Kilted Trading Post?
Kilt Trading Post, Brotherhood of the Kilt. There's a bunch of different kilt groups out there.
And yeah, put the money towards a kilt that's going to fit you right. You're going to be happier with how it looks, and you're going to get more mileage out of it. Definitely.
Absolutely.
But call us if you're not sure, because again, if it's only a few inches, it may be you only need the buckles moved, and we can do that. And fair disclosure, any competent tailor or seamstress can do it too. So yeah, that's it depends on your situation. Let us know if you want to consult.
One thing I want to point out as well, we only alter kilts that we have made.
Right.
We've basically, in the past, we've altered kilts from other companies, and we've had good experiences and some less than good experiences, and we never know what we're going to get when we open up a kilt.
Right.
So for that reason, we just kind of drew a line under it and said, okay, right, from now on, we are only altering kilts that we've made, because we know when we take the buckles off, when we open the kilt up, we know exactly what we're going to find underneath. So, if it's one of ours, give us a call and we'll check it out for you.
Yeah, the last thing we want to do is call somebody and say, look, we opened up your kilt and it's kind of shite,
There's some more issues we need to address and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's embarrassing sometimes with customers, like, oh, I thought I had a good kilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. Okay. You got another one?
Jared asks, where can you find the status of your order?
By calling us. Basically, when you place an order through the website for, let's say, a wool kilt, and it's going to be a 6 to 10 week window, which is what we quote on our website. When you place the order, the way our online shopping cart system works, it charges you then, and then it goes into the processing stage. As soon as the order prints out, I order the fabric from the mill in Scotland the same day, and basically off the order goes. If there's a problem with the order and they don't have the fabric in stock or something like that, they will let us know within 24 to 48 hours. And then I would call you right back and say, hey, it's going to be, X amount of weeks longer, or do you want to choose a different tartan or whatever? Alternatively, if you're ordering a product that is, let's say, a clan crest skin dew that's going to take 4 weeks or so to get here from Scotland, we don't get updated from the suppliers in Scotland, so I can't really update you through the website. If you order a clan crest skin dew today, I would place the order tonight, and then Monday they would process the order. I won't know that it's on its way to me until basically it arrives here. And then 3 days later, I get an email with the invoice from the company over in Scotland. Mm-hmm. So there's no good way for us to give you incremental updates. So basically the order sits in processing status until it kicks over to shipped once we actually pack it up and ship it out to you.
Mm-hmm. And we do, we may look like a big company in some ways, but remember there's only 10 of us at this point, 10 guys. We have a very sharp sales team, if I do say so myself. And so you could call us, or you can send us an email to sales@usakilts.com, and we'll try and give you whatever information we can. And we don't want to keep people in the dark at all, and we're extremely fast and as on point as we can if there's ever a problem with your order. Or if we get something in that's an accessory from a manufacturer and we don't think it meets with our level of quality, our personal approval, we're going to let you know that too. Say, look, there's going to be a delay on this. We're getting you a different one because this one wasn't up to our standards. We try to keep it as open as possible, given the time frame.
And that being said, on our website, right on the product page, right underneath the actual price at the top of the page, there's a little green box, and it's going to have either a scissors or a little truck, and it's going to give you the time frame right there. It'll either say ships in 24 hours or custom ships in 6 to 10 weeks, and we always under promise and over deliver. So if I say it's going to be 6 to 10 weeks, it'll be 6 to 10 weeks. If it's going to be outside of that window, or if I say 2 to 4 weeks, if it's going to be outside of that window for whatever reason, we will call you to let you know and explain that to you. We generally don't miss our own deadlines that we put on the website.
Yep. Unless there's a blizzard in Scotland. Any more right now, Lucas? Okay. I'm going to give one of mine. I thought this was interesting. In summer, when it's warmer, this gentleman would like to wear tartan trews. Do we offer tartan trews in Polyviscose?
We can do it, yeah.
Okay.
It's not something that we have on the website, but yes, it's something that we could do.
Okay. Quick reminder, tartan trews are the fitted trousers, basically very old school, very 19th century, still used with a lot of Highland wear, formal wear.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And we can also make golf pants. There's, if you're looking for, I'm assuming if you're looking for trews or trousers, in Polyviscose, you're probably looking for a little more casual, which is why you're looking at PV. So I'd say yes, we could do golf trousers or regular pants in Polyviscose tartan. It's great because they're a nice, I won't say lightweight, but they're 11 or 12 ounces. They're a good weight to wear outside in the summer. They're also coated with Teflon, so if you spill beer on the golf course, or if you're running around and get a little schmutz on there, it'll come off in the wash kind of thing. And you can just wash them in the washing machine.
And that reminds me of something I wanted to mention. Golf season is upon us, and we're getting more and more guys who are wanting to do kilted golf outings. If you want to do that, then the immediate recommendation we're going to give you is to pick up a casual kilt, which is really light, really comfortable, and again, it's got all the stain resistance of the PV. We very often will have guys come in and get matching kilts for the big golf weekend or the trip to Vegas or whatever it is to do the big golf outing. If you're curious about the history of golf, I just finished a short blog entry. It's up on the website, which talks about how golf kind of became what it is. Golfing in a kilt is a great thing to do, and it's I don't play golf, I'll admit that. But the freedom of movement you have in a kilt and the comfort you have in a kilt is a huge advantage on the golf course. So you can be traditional and actually up your game at the same time. So if anybody has any questions about golfing in a kilt, let us know. It's definitely the time to pull the trigger on that if you want in time for the rest of the season.
Sure. The one thing I'd actually point out about golfing in a kilt as well, normally when you're wearing a kilt, you wear a sporran. With your golf swing, the sporran can kind of get in the way. So we actually have a belt pouch on the website. Mm-hmm. So if you need to carry your wallet, your keys, your flask,
tees,
yep. Balls, all that kind of stuff, that would actually sit on your belt. You can even wear it to the back, so it's completely out of the way, but it's still on your person. It's not over in the cart or anything like that.
I have most of the time I have guys who will do a combo. They'll still have the sporran, but when they're actually going to tee up, they might take the sporran off and hand it to a friend, or
swing it to the side.
Yeah, or spin it off to the side, which is a huge advantage of the sporrans anyways. The fact you can spin them to the side, at any time. But the belt pouches are really handy for small incidental stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
Quincy is asking us about custom tartans. Can we do single orders, or is there a minimum quantity that needs to be met for a custom weave? Also, can it be done with band tartans, or does that cross into copyright territory?
You've designed tons of band tartans over the years.
Define band tartan. If you're looking for a tartan that already exists, like for instance the Dropkick Murphys tartan, I designed that for them 10, 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. They didn't do anything with it, but it exists and it's their copyright. So in that instance, no, you couldn't do that. That being said, if you wanted to design a tartan for your band or another band, you kind of have to do it in conjunction with them for it to be official. Alternatively, if you just said, this band, the white stripes, their colors were black, red, and white, and you want to design a white stripes-esque or a white stripes fan kilt or whatever, then sure, you can design a white, black, and red tartan and wear it, and you can call it whatever you want to call it. But as far as registering it, you wouldn't be able to do that.
I think he's talking about pipe band tartans, though, potentially. And in that case, a lot of pipe bands will use a traditional tartan, a clan tartan. Other bands will have a custom tartan for them, in which case you would have to have the band's permission to wear it. As far as weaving, getting a custom tartan that you've designed or that we've helped you design ordered, you can absolutely do one kilt's worth of the cloth. It will cost you a fair amount of money. It's like $980 for a single kilt, right? Yeah. If you have a bunch of guys going in on this, then the cost will come down, economy of scale. So if you are starting a band, a pipe band, a school group, a rock band, family reunion, whatever, the more people who are involved, the more cost effective it will be to have the tartan woven and get the kilts made up in it. Is that about right?
Yeah. And if you are in a pipe band and you are going, the band wants to design their own tartan. We've done a few tartans for a few different pipe bands, locally and nationally as well. Mm-hmm. If you can do one kilt length of tartan just as a test, however, it will cost a lot more, as Eric was alluding earlier. That being said, you don't necessarily have to do a test one. You can, when you design a tartan on the website and you want to have a custom weave done, what we would do is actually have a CAD drawing or CAD design done up over in Scotland by the mill who's going to be doing the weaving, and then they would actually print out basically a big color photo of your design, and as well they would staple little yarn hanks or hanks of yarn to the actual order or to the printout, so you'd see what the actual yarn colors are going to be, and you can cross them and see how they're going to look when it's actually woven up. You still have to use a bit of your mind's eye to see it, but it's much closer to reality than just kind of, I hope it's good. And at the same time, it's not going to cost $900 to have one kilt done up.
Right. Yep. Hopefully that answers the question. Obviously, if you want to go into more detail, drop us a line.
Yep.
Got any more? Okay. You want to keep going? We're coming up on, 7 minutes before the hour? So.
Sure.
Okay. This is a relatively simple one for us. The straps on my kilt are thick and hard to use on the first wear. I'm assuming this is a kilt that came from us. Will they loosen up? Will they break in over time?
Yes. The straps that we use on our wool kilts, whether it's our 5-yard or our 8-yard wool kilts, we actually have a very, very top grade leather. It's a very good quality leather strap. All the straps that are bog standard from the companies you can order straps from over in Scotland are, they're good, but they're a little bit thin leather. They're veg tanned on top, which means they have like a black plasticky kind of sheen for the most part. They're good, they're not great. So when we found out that we could actually have our own straps made about 10 years ago, we actually have them, we went to our belt maker and we said, look, you guys do awesome belts. We want to have great quality leather straps on our kilts. We want them embossed with Celtic knotwork, and we want our little logo on the very tail end of the strap there. So they are a little bit stiffer than the bog standard straps coming out of Scotland. That being said, they do loosen up over time, and they will last a lot longer than the regular straps.
Yep, I can personally attest to that. I've had some pretty crappy straps on kilts before I came here. But the ones we use, I've never had any problems with them.
And they're embossed. It looks pretty BA.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. Are there many... There are many universal tartans which feature purple as the dominant color. Why is it you don't see purple in a lot of clan tartans?
That's a great question.
It is a great question. It was such a great question that I called in my expert witness, which in this case was my wife, who is probably not watching right now because she's driving to Lancaster. But my wife is a natural dyer, and I immediately, when this question came across and Rocky shared it with me, I was like, what do you think about this? And so I texted my wife, and she looked up one of her books, which is literally like weaving techniques of ancient Scotland. And what she said, this is from technical information, was that basically purple dyes in Scotland, and this probably holds from a lot of Northern Europe too, were made with lichens and crottle, which is some kind of an herb, I guess. That was how you got pinks and purples. They would tend to start out bright and the color you want, but they would fade over time with light exposure. So in other words, they weren't really color fast. So they become duller and duller, so they weren't as desirable for that reason. Color fastness is something that was a huge innovation as a result of chemical dyes that came about in the 19th century too. She mentioned to me that basically one of the very first artificial dyes was mauve, the color mauve, because you could get purples and stuff out of combinations of blue and red, but traditionally they wound up looking a little splotchy, and they were very pH sensitive. In other words, they're highly sensitive to acid fluctuations, so they were technically harder to do, and they didn't last as long. So that may be one reason why tartan tended to avoid that as a choice. It could be that there's a purple tartan out there that hasn't been found in somebody's attic yet, but the fact that we haven't seen that many of them probably means that there was a good reason why they didn't choose. That's the technical information we have. Was there a personal reason, like you didn't do purple because it was not appropriate unless you were royalty? That could be a reason too. We'd have to look into it further for the social aspect of the answer. That's a technical answer. Maybe that helps. Or
if there was purple used, maybe it just faded reasonably quickly, and that's why we don't have any artifacts of it today, because it's already, a light bluish kind of color.
Yeah, now dye historians, I think, are advanced enough with their techniques. They can tell when something started out as a different color and faded over time. But yeah, would you want purple? It raises the question also of what other colors would fade. Were there any other colors that were not popular? And we know that blues and greens were very popular. Red, how common was red back in the day?
Pretty common. There's a lot of old tartans with red in
it. Okay, so presumably that was a more color fast dye. So,
right.
If anybody has any other insight on this, obviously, let me know.
Until next time, boys and girls, if you have any questions, please email us, sales@usakilts.com. Any questions you want us to answer, we're happy to answer them for you. We do these once a month, first Friday of every month. So tune in next time, and we'll talk to you later.
Yep. Take it easy.
Have fun, guys.
See ya.